Hello, and welcome to Salt All the Things. Today we're going to see if WoW gets suspicious when we log out early to study another game's patch notes. Ha ha! Just kidding. We're nerds. We're going to keep talking about the nerd things like World of Warcraft and other games. I'm Rocket. That's Trog.
Hi, everybody.
Well, Trog, we have finally arrived full circle from the snafu from the other day to attempt to get this done.
Yeah, sorry, everybody, but hopefully I've got my problem solved now. It's up on my big monitor, and I'm going to stare at it.
We're all eagerly awaiting with anticipation the results of this test. Not really much new to report since the last time we recorded was yesterday. So we're just going to dive into kind of some stuff. I did participate in a little bit of stuff after maintenance, so that was kind of fun. The aluminum foil thing was a real letdown. I'll just get that out there.
I still can't do it on my warrior, so I have to go get on my druid to do it. I checked that this morning.
Yeah, I did the requirements to unlock the ability, and it was literally just, hey, whatever random thing you picked first gets more powerful. Whee!
Yeah, this whole aluminum foil just seems lame.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact it's not a ring or a cloak or anything this time, but it's just like, why are we doing this when you could just tune the mobs to either have less health or, more health. It's just like, or just make us do more damage. Like, I don't know why we have to go through all this.
Work on fixing the myriad of class problems that we still have for specs that are like broken and just feel like crap, like Marksman Hunter.
Yeah, or I mean, even Survival Hunter. Like, why all of a sudden do I have a shoddy shotgun? Like, okay, why can't it look like my ranged weapon? Why does it have to look like a shotgun? But anyway, so that's that. We are going to be talking today with our guildmate and good friend Mito. Say hello, Mito.
Hello, Mito.
Well done. The topic for today is Beyond Azeroth, the games we cheat on WoW with. And why this became a topic of discussion is Mito has been a valuable member of our team in raids and in group content for a long time, as long as I've been in the guild. And he's kind of taken a step back, recently. And we're just going to try to pick his brain a little bit and figure out what makes people want to take a break and what attracts them to other games. What games do they play when they're not playing World of Warcraft? That kind of thing. But I'd like to give Mito a chance to kind of clue us all in as to what started his WoW journey. Like, why did you start playing? How long have you been playing? And yeah, take it from there, bud.
So I can definitely say that my WoW journey is significantly longer than all of yours. And,
true.
In reality, it started back in vanilla. I want to say right around the time of the gates of Encourage opening.
Okay. You got me beat by a few months.
Specifically, I would always play on Wyland's account because I didn't have a computer that could run WoW. Actually, my computer could barely run Ultima Online at the time. So definitely.
Oh, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah. If you don't know what Ultima Online is, it is a very old MMO that came out in 1996 for the beta. It is about as archaic looking as you think. So even
Thanks
World
for that,
of Warcraft.
by the way.
You're welcome. I was 4.
I graduated high school. Ugh.
Oh, I was entering high school that year.
But going back to WoW, I ended up playing on Wyland's computer for the majority of my Saturdays because that was the day he worked all day. And if it wasn't for that, he would be on WoW playing it. So that was basically the only time I ever got to actually play WoW. I started out as a Tauren hunter, and I remember being so blown away by just how exciting everything was, because this was still back before, it was a solved game. So I run around and I saw like a lake out in the middle of Bloodhoof Village, and I jumped into it and I was like, this is amazing. This is like flying but underwater. I can go up and down. It's crazy. But it was definitely a an interesting experience, meeting lots of
Hey, Trog,
other
we can
people.
hear corporate accounts.
Oh, poor Trog.
Go ahead, Mino.
So it was 1 second. Oh yeah, so everything felt new and exciting. Nothing specifically felt like it was some step to higher gear.
Yeah.
I remember a story I shared last time that we had before we had that slight issue was I remember seeing this little yellow sword icon on my screen, and I was like, "What is that? Does this mean like I'm the best hunter at level 8 in the game, or the second best because it's yellow and not green?" And then my sword broke in the middle of a fight, and I was like, "Oh, never mind." So might be happy to know that even when I was little Mito, I was still thinking that I was better than everyone else with no
I
proof.
mean,
So
we would expect nothing less, sir. Nothing less. I
but
you hit on something really important there. The idea that, at least open world mechanically wise, WoW is a solved game now. And I feel like a lot of the current problems with the state of play comes from the fact that, it's basically a geared treadmill. And the exploration and things don't feel as meaningful anymore. Like, I'm one of those people who didn't really have a problem having to go get the Pathfinder achievement to unlock flying and all the new areas. But like, I know a lot of people took issue with that, but like for me, it made the things I enjoy doing anyway actually valuable and, have a purpose behind them instead of just me wandering around with my finger in my nose while I explore.
I agree
yeah,
with you there. I appreciated those achievements too because I like the exploration element of the game, and I agree with you guys. It does just kind of feel like that magic is gone.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people are trying to recapture it with classic, but it'll never be pure vanilla WoW ever again.
well, to be fair, that's because we've changed just as much as the game has.
Correct.
That is very true. The external of the game is very different than it was in 2004 or 6 or whatever that year was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think. I mean, Wowhead's been around since the get go, but like Wowhead was not the resource that it is now back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are some games, gentlemen, that take us away from WoW? I can actually very recently speak to this. I've started my Slay the Spire journey thanks to somebody. Uh, that's
That's
actually kind of
me.
fun. I was really annoyed though because my first playthrough, I was doing well. I got all the way to the end boss, and he smoked my ass, and
That'll happen.
and then I get nothing. I have to do it again.
You got you got to the end of Act 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Those bosses are
Uh,
really hard the first time you fight them. They get significantly easier once you learn them.
so I'll share like a window into my brain. I was like, I didn't even look at his health until halfway through the fight when I'm already at like 25 health left and he's got over 100 still. I'm like, yeah, this is probably not going to end well for me.
Ruh-roh.
Uh, anyway, but Mino, Trog, what are some games that take you away from WoW and why?
Well,
Go ahead, Mito. Talk about your recent love.
have you heard of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV with an expanded free trial with which you can play through the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Shadowbringers expansion up to level 80 for free with no restriction on playtime?
Shout out to Square Enix for sponsoring today's podcast. Just kidding.
I had to write that down beforehand.
Did you really?
I didn't memorize that whole thing.
I was convinced you had that memorized at this point.
Rocket, he does more pre-work for the show than we do now officially.
That's crazy.
Actually,
and the fact that you just aired
enough,
our laundry is even crazier.
I'm actually not really playing Final Fantasy as much as I have been. I'm still playing it some, but I've gone like a full day without playing it, which is something.
I don't think I've gone a full day without playing WoW in months.
But I can say that I've been playing Switch 2 games, Dreamcast games, and Pokemon. Those are also some the other things that I go with.
Dreamcast games?
Yeah, I actually have a Dreamcast that's modded with a DC digital output so it can connect to an HDMI TV.
That is really cool, man.
That is cool.
One of my saddest days in my console gaming was when I finally got rid of all my old consoles. Like, I had my Sega Genesis, my Dreamcast, and my Nintendo 64, and they just clutter up my living room too much, and, you know, I had to do the old trade them in for $5 or whatever you could get for them at the time.
The old Yeller ending.
They give you $5 so that they can sell it for $120.
Of course.
Hey, that's just capitalism at its best.
Yay, capitalism.
I have been playing a ton of Slay the Spire 2 along with my WoW adventures. I really like roguelites and roguelikes, and Metroidvanias as well. And so right now, Slay the Spire 2 is scratching that itch for me. But I've already got my eye on like 3 other games that I want to start playing because I found this like neon colored Metroidvania the other day that looks really cool. So I kind of want to play it. For me,
sounds interesting.
It looks interesting. I know for me, WoW is for me more of a social activity than a video game almost. I enjoy playing WoW most of the time. I really like doing raids. That's a lot of fun for me. And I really like just wandering around the world and like talking to NPCs and fighting random things. I spend a lot of time in the game just literally kind of flying around doing random stuff. Because for me, one of my biggest things that I get out of games is exploration, learning new systems. I'm a bit of an altaholic, even though I tease Rocket all the time. I am also a altaholic. And so often I get bored when WoW turns into the same thing over and over and over again, and I have to go play something else. So if I just like look at my recent Steam games, I've been playing Slay the Spire 2, Dave the Diver, Backpack Battles, which is a lot of fun. I tried Griftlands, which was interesting. I've been playing a whole lot of random stuff. Oh, yeah, and Brotato and Vampire Crawlers. Vampire Crawlers is really fun. But the game doesn't feel finished yet. It's still in early access. So that's, for me, that's why I cheat on WoW all the freaking time with tons of games, because I always want to see what else is out there. I want to try different systems. And then it does give me thoughts on how WoW could be better. I promised last time I wouldn't talk about Abyss Anglers, but I'm going to totally renege on that for today's episode. I really like that sometimes WoW inspires me to go find a different game. The Abyss Anglers, I enjoyed that event so much. I went and found Dave the Diver on Steam, and I bought it, and I've played through probably 60-70% of the game. I really love it. It was a great time, and I see where Blizzard got their influence from for like how the weapon works and stuff. That was a cool experience.
So like my other MMO experience has been pretty limited to SWOTOR. I was playing Call of Duty before I played WoW. Like my entire guild of Call of Duty 2, when WoW came out, that's when they all jumped ship and convinced me to go with them. But a couple of things that SWOTOR does really well, and I've touched on this with the TMOG diatribes that I've had in the past, is they have the color matching system where if you dye a main piece of gear, like your chest, your headpiece, or whatever, you can actually hit one button to color match the whole set to match those colors. So if you've got a really cool red and black, red and purple, whatever, TMOG that you're going for, you don't have to necessarily hunt down all these other pieces to mix and match it. You can just color match it right there in the interface with the click of a button. And I'm like, that would open up so much for WoW's TMOG that they've, let's be real, they've really improved on lately, but it just needs that next little push, you know?
Mm. I would like that feature. I'm reminded of Dawn of War back in the day when I was playing that, and they had an army painter system. And so, like, each one of the models had like 10 different color options that applied to different parts of the character. And you would select the colors. And I loved playing with that thing and making the perfect Necron army that had a glowing green over that layer of black and gray. I loved it.
Yeah. What are some things that entice you into Final Fantasy, Mito? I know you talked a little bit during our show that, unfortunately had to get flushed, but could you reiterate some of the things that, you really enjoy over there and what works well?
Well, I can say that part of it is just because it feels like a new game, but I do enjoy the how can I put this? The more aesthetic aspects of it. There are things in Final Fantasy that don't necessarily play into the gear grind of in-game. Things like the extensive story, the multiple side activities, like the Gold Saucer, which is this big, casino with mini games that you can play. Um, it's got things like mahjong. The fishing profession is not really related all that much to actually crafting food items. Instead, it's really just like a game unto itself to see if you can collect all of the stuff in it. They've got things like
Wow.
island sanctuaries, which are just like farming areas pretty much. And so other things like the blue mage job, which isn't a job that you can use in in-game rating. So
That's
I,
the
I
thing you
always
were talking about last time. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I always appreciate the things that aren't focused purely on let's increase that number so that we can do bigger bosses to make the number go up more.
Right.
What I
You
call the
know,
Diablo treadmill.
yeah.
It's just a war of math.
I
It really is.
I got, and this is going to be very surprising to you guys. I got drunk one night
No.
and and ended up writing up this whole like what's it called? Uh First year psychology major concept of World of Warcraft and where it places on the hierarchy of needs.
Oh man.
Wow.
But
Was that
if you're not,
recently?
yeah, it was pretty recently. If you're
Wow.
not, um, I mean, yeah, you say wow, but in reality, this is very basic level stuff. So it's not like I'm sure if Elric listens to this, he's gonna roll his eyes the entire time. But essentially, the idea of the hierarchy of needs is a concept of like everybody has basic needs that have to be filled, like water, food, shelter, then personal safety, love and belonging, so friendships and family, then self esteem and recognition, and then finally becoming the best that you can be. And like they build off of each other. And I think that when we get WoW starts to feel like a job for us, the main thing that keeps us hooked into it is that love and belonging. Because I think
Correct.
all of us probably would have quit WoW if it was not for the social aspects of it.
100%.
And so,
Well, only people like Rocket are crazy enough to just continue playing a thing without the friends.
I will agree
well,
that
I
Rocket
think
is crazy.
raids, especially for DPS, kind of plays into that higher tier of like self-respect and getting status because you out DPS other people. And
Yeah.
when it starts to feel like a job, it becomes less of something you're doing for yourself because you want to grow as a person and something that you're doing to just secure what you already have. Like it basically drops down the hierarchy of needs from doing it for, becoming the best you can be in this game to just trying to keep a secure grasp on what you already have. And that way you can sometimes feel trapped, and that makes you start to resent it. It makes it feel like a job, something that you're doing to meet your basic needs instead of something that you're doing because you really love it.
Yeah, I
That
think
makes a lot of sense.
it's a hard balancing act too, right? Because like, kind of like I alliterated to, um, when I didn't have a guild to play with, I was still engaging with WoW. I just wasn't engaging with those aspects of the game that quite honestly weren't available to me anymore. So I would literally just do like weeklies, dailies, mount grinds, T-Mog farms, you know, it became more about like, hey, how much gold can I make this week kind of thing, instead of I need to get better numbers so that I can, have my spot on the raid team kind of thing. Uh, so it's like WoW is really unique in terms of its longevity in the MMO space, but at the same time, I feel like they're stuck, they're stuck in their old ways.
It's an interesting way to think about the game, and we do talk about that a lot. We talk about how uh, I think all of us are here because of the social aspect. It's really the only reason. And like, I'm very clear what I like to do in this game and what I get enjoyment by. And when they drop, stupid mount farms that you just got to sit there for like 12 hours grinding something to get, I just opt out and say no, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, that actually kind of makes me think about the other type of game we've been playing a little bit together. Those quote friend slop unquote games. Remember what I'm
Oh,
talking
is that
about?
what they're called?
Yeah, that's the moniker they've been given.
That is great.
Oh,
It's appropriate.
So if anybody listening isn't sure, a friend slot game is something like Peak or gambling with your friends, where you basically just have some vague goal, and the rest of the time you're just trolling each other as much as possible.
oh, also Portal 2's co-op mode. Shout out if Elric is listening. That was the trolliest game I've ever played.
I
I'd like to
still am waiting
throw
for you to
in
play that with me, Trog.
I'd like to throw in Lego Star Wars for that as well. Or any of the Mario Party games. You control your friends really quickly in those games.
Oh my god, I have a core memory with those Lego Star Wars games. My kids and I used to play them together.
My
And
kid
when
would
they didn't,
stab me in the back, dude.
yeah. Well, the thing that I don't remember which one of them it was, but one of them didn't really understand the controller that well, and would just like stand on the side of the screen, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to go forward, and the screen
Yeah.
like locks, and now we can't progress. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just
Or-
come over by me.
Or they go just far enough that you're off screen and you die.
Yes, that happened a lot. And then if they caught you in an area where you couldn't respawn, so you die, reappear, die, reappear.
But like, I think it's important to acknowledge the psychology of, gaming. It's right up there with, people who watch sports and place bets and do all these things as a social, engagement aspect of who they are as a person. So like, to acknowledge the fact that we're all here for different reasons. I think sometimes we forget that, and that's why you get sometimes the blow ups in groups. I mean, one person's needs aren't getting met and everyone else is confused as to why, because they're all there for different reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you really haven't told me that I'm pretty in like the
Right.
last 20 raids. Come on now.
I'm sorry, Mito. You are gorgeous.
I don't
Though,
think so, Mito.
speaking of psychology, just a little off topic. However,
No, it's
uh,
fine. Segues
if
are
you
good.
know those mobile games, they
The
actually sometimes
the predatory
hire,
games
yeah, they sometimes hire psychologists to figure out the best ways to to prey
to
on
hook people
people's.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I
They do use a lot of
100%
tricks.
Even before you told me that, I would have thought that because I can just I mean, and WoW is getting to be that way a lot with their cash shop nonsense lately. Um, it's just very like, haha, gotcha. Well, you did it for this thing 6 months ago. Let's see how much we can gouge you today.
And that's actually why, whenever you start any kind of mobile game, they'll show you maybe like 30 minutes to an hour after you start this like 99 cents super amazing deal. Because they know that if they get you to spend money once, the likelihood of you spending money again shoots up.
Yep. So they hit you
Oh,
early and often.
predatoriness. I wish our hobby could have less predatoriness to it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. But
Well,
going
when
back
you
into
were
the oh, sorry, what
Yeah,
Rocket?
go ahead. No, no, you go. I just wanted to reiterate that blue mage concept thing that you were talking about in Final Fantasy actually was something that was really interesting to me. The whole idea of choosing a class that has nothing to do with endgame content just kind of blew my mind a little bit.
That actually sounded
For,
really fun to me too. Can you describe that a little bit more, Mito? Because I think you went into more depth last time.
essentially the idea, and this is a very cursory. Oh wait, now hold on a second. Yes, okay. So okay, slight tangent. I've always mixed up the word cursory and peruse because peruse means the opposite of what you think it would mean. Peruse means to look at something in depth, and cursory means to look at something the way people use the word peruse. Anyway, so giving you a cursory glance at Blue Mage, essentially the way it works is when you fight a monster, there's a chance you have to learn its abilities, and then you can set them like uh, almost like so you pick and choose which ones you want. So you aren't going to have every single monster ability, but you can choose different ones. And so some blue mages can pick like the tanking monster abilities, and some can choose the healing ones or the DPS ones, and then you group with other blue mages to do content that isn't related to getting gear. And
That's
outside of that,
so interesting.
there's also this I don't even know how to describe it, like tournament kind of thing that's again unrelated. So blue mage is the gear you get has no stats on it. Your stats are affected by the spells that you equip, if I remember correctly. Now, like I
Oh,
said, I haven't
interesting.
engaged with the system a ton because I'm still playing through the main game. I've got
Right.
200 and I think 80 hours now, and I'm still only at the beginning of the first expansion because I insisted on leveling every class up to 50, which is kind of like the equivalent of halfway to max level.
You play that game the way I play Pokemon. Like I have to collect every Pokemon in the zone when I'm there, and then I have to level all of my Pokemon to the same level. And when it's evolution time for things, I have to have an unevolved version and an evolved version. That's why I never get like further than 30% in a Pokemon game because I burn myself out after the first 5 areas.
Really, the best way to go about that is to just because what you're talking about is a living dex in Pokemon, and I actually have one for Sword and Shield, and I just finished the ZA one, and that's where you have one of every evolutionary stage.
Yeah,
And
that's what I love to do in those games.
funnily enough, they actually reward you now for doing that. If you transfer in all of the Pokemon from a certain game into Pokemon Home, you get a shiny mythical that you can't normally get.
Wow. So my crazy play style is actually being rewarded.
You got. I feel like Pokemon was made, and I'm saying this with the utmost affection. It was made for people with autism. It
Oh,
just
for
has to
sure.
be
100%.
because I have spent so
Nito,
much time
Nito just called me
organizing my
autistic.
boxes. I mean, I'm probably autistic too, Trog.
Trog, we all have tism.
I know I'm saying this with like faux like insult here, but it fits.
Yeah. Like, would somebody with autism be able to do this as I hyperfixate on Final Fantasy for a month
Right?
straight?
Would
I know.
somebody with autism be able to do this as I T-Mog and have a mount and a hunter pet that all match?
I just remember that comment in Discord from a little while ago. I was talking about my Slay the Spire 2 journey, and you put something like Trog in his hyperfixation.
A hyper-fixated Trog is a happy Trog.
Oh, believe me, that is super duper true.
I mean, Trog, I've had this this assumption ever since you told me that you used to intentionally mix up your tracks and then put them back in order to relax. Okay, so
Oh, I totally used to do that when I was younger. I had a pile of MP3s. Like, it probably wasn't like I have now, but I had a pile of music. And sometimes I would just throw all of the stuff out of my main music directory, and then I would start bringing it back in, and I would make sure all the metadata was correct. It had an album cover on it. I had everything. In fact, once I wrote a program to try to calculate the beats per minute of all of my tracks, and
Oh
then
my
started
God.
scanning them all with it. I really do love organizing things, putting them in order, cataloging things. That's why in my career I'm in data. I'm very successful because organizing data and being able to use it to like draw out information is something that gets me super excited.
It tickles your tism.
It sure does.
yeah, what? How the heck did we get on this?
I don't know, man. Welcome to the podcast.
Trog's crazy. It comes
This
up
is-
all the time.
This is
We were
this
talking
is what
about
happens
something.
pretty routinely. Well, like things that you enjoyed in the other games that you are playing and why. And I think we kind of hit on it is like not everything has to be, and this is where I see Blizzard keep constantly tripping on their own sword, is everything's geared around gear and the loot factory and the turntable that we're all stuck on. And then once we hit that, you know, breaking point of like, okay, this is the max I can do with the stuff I'm willing to currently engage with, what else is there to do? And then that's when people tend to fall off and look for other things.
So, did you guys see that video I posted in other games chat? So for the people who are listening, it was a scene from the Fairly Odd Parents where they were on an escalator, and Timmy says, "When do we get to the ride?" And his parents say, "This is the ride! Yippee!" So
I watched it without sound and did not understand.
yeah, so the whole point is like, for some, that's how I feel about survival crafting games, because the whole thing is just we're gathering so we can craft, so we can gather more, so we can craft more, and that's the gameplay loop. And for some people, that's the best thing ever. But for me, it's just like, all right, it's not the fun part yet.
Oh
Right.
man, I really really hate that kind of game. What was the space game that came out a few years ago? I don't even think if I have it installed right now. Probably longer
Oh.
than that.
Yeah, No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I played that game after playing Outer Worlds, and so I was kind of hoping for another sci-fi RPG, and I did not realize that that was basically just a survival crafting game where you explore different planets. And I was like, this is the most boring crap I've ever played. I can't stand that kind of game. Like Minecraft, just never, it doesn't tickle me at all. I get bored and I want to go do something real.
There was a game not too long ago, and I say not too long ago, it's probably within the last 5 years, but it's some friends of mine were playing it, and it's a survival crafting game where you get shrunk down and you end up fighting bugs and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
I
that
remember
was
seeing that one.
that was pretty cool just because of the, the whole Honey I Shrunk the Kids vibe. But again, I could see myself playing that for like a few hours and then just becoming really irritated and bored that I have to sit here and craft this wood into this wood to make this weapon. Yay!
I would just like to point out that Rocket is talking about his wood. We need to censor
Wood.
Hey, this is how we get views on the podcast.
That and my feet pics.
That's true. Your furry feet pics.
I have hobbit feet.
that. The name of that game is Grounded, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I couldn't think of it. My friends were playing it and they convinced me to like give it a try, and I played for a few hours and I was having a good time until very quickly I wasn't.
I thought that game was kind of like, what's that 2-player game where you play the parents and they're about to divorce? My description
I don't know.
Sounds terrible, but
I don't know. My Life? Is that the name of the
Takes-
game? My Life?
it takes two. Yeah, so my daughter and I were playing that, and it was just after my divorce, so it was a little awkward. But when I saw that Grounded game, I was like, "Oh, is this like a bigger version of that It Takes Two?" Because I thought It Takes Two was wonderful, especially the level where one person has like a nail gun and the other person had like a hammer. That was awesome.
Oh, so it's kind of building off things like Toe Jam and Earl, where you had to have co-op because you had different abilities. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very much like the co-op in Portal 2, where you both have tools that will help you, but the puzzles require you to use those tools together. Like there was a wheel that was spinning, and the person with the nail gun had to shoot a nail at the right place, and the person with the hammer would jump and use the claw of the hammer to swing. And so, like, you had to line up on a moving surface where to shoot that nail, when to make the jump, and when to, like, release yourself so that you got to the other side. But, man, doing that with my kid, and we were doing it on my current computer. I didn't have my big monitor yet. I just had my two little ones. But I put the game, I stretched the screen across both monitors because then the split is naturally in the middle. So we were both playing on one of my monitors sitting right next to each other.
That's cool.
That was a fun experience. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, good news, Trog. They made a spiritual sequel to that called Split Fiction.
I know they did. And if my daughter was not spending so much time with her girlfriend and her friends, I would totally want to play that with her.
If I play soundboards, would they be heard in the podcast?
No, because it won't come through your mic channel.
Oh, darn.
Womp womp. Now we won't get in trouble.
I had so many great ways to get this demonetized.
I can't stop gambling.
So Mr. Mito.
Yes.
Last time, you gave us some fun Pokemon facts. I feel like we need some fun Pokemon facts.
Right. Well, last time, I'll probably repeat the one I said last time just because I think that's the most interesting. And that is the fact that Kurt's balls are terrible. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, in Generation 2, there's a person called Kurt who, if you give him apricots or apricorns, I can never remember. But if you give him a fruit, he'll turn it into a Pokeball. But because Game Freak were basically holding the entire system together with paper clips and glue, almost none of them work the way they're supposed to. So, for example, just in time for Pride Month, if you have a love ball and you try, it says for catching the opposite gender, but it actually increases your catch rate for the same gender. You also have
Nice.
the Moon Ball, which is for catching Pokemon that evolve through a Moonstone, but because of a glitch, it actually helps you catch Pokemon that evolve using a Burn Heal, which is none of them. So they really kind of screwed that one up there.
That sounds like a totally useful item.
Now, what's
I
funny is the Quick Ball. No, not the Quick Ball. Sorry, you finish while I double check it, Trog.
Well, I was just going to say that anybody who raids with us regularly knows that this is the normal behavior, but I asked Mito to tell us something, and he went straight to balls.
I would just like to point out that my balls are amazing. Better than Kurt's, anyway.
Well, that's a low bar.
That's not hard.
So,
Giggity.
if any of you have ever played Generation 2, you'll know that there are these things called roaming legendaries. They are constantly moving, and when you encounter them, you have one turn before they run away, and then they move to a completely different area and you have to find them again.
Oh, crap.
Now, Kurt has a Pokeball that's supposed to help you catch those. Unfortunately, because of a glitch, it doesn't work. So the way the ball's
Imagine
supposed
that.
to work is that it's supposed to give you a 4 times catch modifier for any Pokemon that has a high chance of fleeing, like running away. Because they put that in Generation 2 for some reason. Some Pokemon can just run away. But it only works on Magnemite, Grimer, and Tangela. Because those are the 3 at the top of the list. And just for some reason, it doesn't apply to anything else.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, you
How-
had...
How did people figure this out?
they looked into
Trial
the
and
code.
error.
But yeah, you had 10-year-old me trying to use those Pokeballs every single time and wondering why they never worked.
Oh my
That's why.
goodness. I feel
So-
bad for 10-year-old Mito.
Fun fact, Generation 2 is also sexist. So what I mean by that is, for anybody who doesn't know, there's these things in Gen 1 and 2 called DVs, which stand for determinate value. Long story short, think of them like Pokemon genes. They determine how high a stat can get. So, you know, if you have let's say, an Eevee with 15 attack DVs, it will have a higher physical attack than an Eevee that has 2 attack DVs. Does that make sense so far?
Tracking.
So the way they made it work was based on the gender split. Female Pokemon have a cap on how high their physical attack DVs can be. So if it's 50-50, male Pokemon can have up to the max, but female can only have up to 7.
Oh my goodness.
And
Wow.
it gets more extreme the higher the gender percentage gets.
Right.
So the starters, like Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile, they have an 87.5% chance of being male. Which means that if you get a female starter, the highest its physical attack can be is like 2 compared to 15.
That's nuts.
Yeah, they got rid of that in the next generation.
well, good thing.
Gee, I wonder why.
Man,
But-
remember playing games that didn't ever have patches and you just got what you purchased and that
oh
was
my
it?
gosh. Yeah, so like every old school console game ever.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that Miyamoto quote where he said a bad what was it? A delayed game is I don't remember exactly what he said, but basically he said if you release a bad game, it's going to be bad forever. If you delay it, it has a chance to be good. Now, obviously, that doesn't
Exactly.
apply anymore.
Well,
Because
Yeah, but
It
that's
only-
how that's how
it
they
only
used to
doesn't-
think.
it only doesn't fly anymore because everything has to be a product that makes money for the rich. Like games really did. The people that used to develop games were artists. They were passionate people. They had a vision in their head that they wanted to bring into real life. And I mean, I have built myself a video game. I've actually built a couple video games in my time, but I've only released one. And that's why I make games. I have an idea. I think of something that I would have fun doing and that I'm interested in. And so I build it and then I share it with other people. And it feels like the game, the at least the AAA games industry has completely lost sight of that part of gaming. And that's why most of my games, except for WoW, are all like indie games because they still do interesting thing. That Neon Metroidvania, by the way, is called Ultros, if anybody wants to look at it. I guess it was released in 2024, but I just discovered it. But the pictures on Steam do look really cool, so I'm going to be giving it a try.
Well, and like, so I'm going to age myself here a little bit, but I remember there was a little gem of a game that I played on the Genesis back in the day called Flashback. And I believe the tagline was called Fight the Future or something like that. And it was one of those weird niche games where it wasn't all about the action. It was a side scroller, but you basically had to figure out how to move your guy through the physical space. And it was more about jumping, grabbing onto things, hanging there for a second, waiting for something to go by, because there were all these traps and enemies that would instantly kill you. And like you had a gun, but like it wasn't anything special. It was just like a little, pea shooter of a gun that, took multiple hits to kill anything. So you never wanted to like stand your ground and fight. And I think games like that are like, those have disappeared. And the critical thinking of it. Huh?
I never played this one, but this feels a lot to me about why I loved Prince of Persia so much.
It's the same movement, same idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except it's in the future, and the whole premise of the game is really cool. Like you wake up and you don't remember who you are. Someone stole your identity and you have to get it back, kind of thing. So like think of Prince of Persia moving and traps and things, but futuristic. And it was really fun.
Yeah, that totally would have been a game I would have enjoyed back in the day. I hadn't heard of that one. I was a Nintendo kid, not a Sega kid, so
I was a double dipper. I dipped into both worlds.
Oh, look at you being all fancy.
Oh, part 2 of that Pokemon fun fact, just to finish it off.
Yes, please finish.
Thank you, Rocket. Because of what I mentioned earlier, that means that you can never have a female shiny Eevee or starters. Because shiny, if you don't know, shinies is a different colored Pokemon. And that is determined in Gen 1 and 2 entirely by their stats. So actually, shiny Pokemon aren't the best in that game.
I am so glad that I never got sucked into the Pokemon craze.
I actually never knew what shiny meant, and I've always been afraid to ask.
Same. So thank you for sharing.
They're called shiny because they sparkle when you see them, and the only reason they do that is because Gold and Silver came out compatible with the Game Boy, which didn't have color. So they wanted to make sure people could tell that it was something special, even if they couldn't see that it's a different color.
Oh,
so it sparkles.
Okay. Yeah.
Was that at the time when like the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy were like competing with each other?
I wouldn't really say competing. The Game Boy Color was more or less the successor.
Game Boy Color is a joke. Game Gear from Sega was the best.
For 30 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say. And if you needed something heavy to hit a friend with, that worked great. Way better than a Game Boy. Thing was a brick.
Well, I think
I have lost my
train. What I was talking about. In terms
Trog,
of
Trog does that a lot.
I was just gonna say I kind of covered most of the things that I was thinking about. I could talk a little more about Final Fantasy, but for the most part, it's pretty much just what I said.
What about because my experience with Final Fantasy, the MMO. Now, keep in mind, I've played all the Final Fantasy games up until I want to say what was it, 7? I played those really religiously, and then I just kind of fell off. I always found it amusing that the game is called Final Fantasy, and yet it never ends. Um, so that was really a fun play on words, in my opinion. But what about like the boss and raid encounters and stuff? How do they differ, and are they better, worse, or inconsequential to WoW?
Let me ask the person who hasn't gotten past the second expansion how the end game is.
Ah, well, I mean, you've probably watched videos, or people who have done things, right?
I have looked it up a little bit, and I will say that there is a big change coming in the next expansion, and a lot of people are not happy about how raids are right now. So, as of right now, uh, it's an example of players just kind of asking for what they think they want, and then they get it and they realize that it sucks.
Oh, yeah, that
Because
happens.
in Final Fantasy, you have certain abilities that don't just buff you, but buff everybody in your party. And those are often on 2-minute cooldowns. So it might increase everybody's critical hit rate or something like that. The problem is, if somebody's 2-minute cooldown, is obviously on 2 minutes, and you have a cooldown that lasts for, let's say, 110 seconds. Well, then, to line up your cooldowns, you're going to have to just hold on to that cooldown for 10 seconds. And that doesn't feel very good. So players basically asked, hey, can you just line up everybody's cooldowns and make them all 60 seconds or 120 seconds so we don't have to have this dead space in between? And Square Enix basically did that. And what ended up happening was all the bosses were pretty much balanced around having a big burst window where everybody hits all their stuff at once, and the boss is pretty much doing nothing, and then having a do the mechanics window where people are still
Right, right.
like doing their basic rotation, but not anything crazy. And that's created a lot of stagnation in raids, from what I've read.
A lot of downtime.
Yeah, it
Well, it
basically
would
all the
probably
bosses are the
make
same.
yeah, it would make all the bosses feel exactly the same because you have your blast window and then you have the I need to do stuff for this specific boss. But that's kind of like that's how I felt playing my Moonkin. I was like, oh, well, so I'm just going to sit here forever and just do my rotation until I have to move because there's something under my feet. And that's why I was getting so bored with the game. So I totally get why that would be a not great outcome.
I feel like a lot of the ability pruning that's happened from Blizzard lately is starting to cause people to feel that same type of stagnation in terms of like. So I can only speak to what I know, which is Hunter.
Half
Very
the
well.
classes in the game.
No. Hunter, very well. And Trog, I've even told you this specifically. It's why I get bored on Hunter now. Is a lot of the things I used to be able to do in dungeons or raids as kind of like filler abilities that don't really impact my damage, but make me feel good about being there. Such as, I don't know, throwing out my binding shot and then throwing out an explosive trap that knocks everything up and stuns everything for a couple seconds. That feels really cool. They took that away.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool. So all the things I used to do to fill in the gaps of when I'm supposed to be hitting my buttons are gone. So now I'm literally just sitting here waiting to hit my button every time. And I get where that feeling comes from because it causes me to get bored really quick. I have actually held back on my moment of salt until this very moment. I'm gonna just throw some salt on the party for a second. I read something that I cannot believe Blizzard had the balls to do. We're coming
What's
back.
that?
We keep coming back to balls, by the way. Anyway, Hunter's Mark.
Freudian.
They're changing Hunter's Mark to where you can apply it to more than one target. Okay. So like one hunter can hunter's mark 5 different targets, up to 5 targets. However, you have to manually mark each of the targets. When are they going to like
how long until you just push hunter's mark and it just goes on everything in a 30-yard radius?
That is what I'm saying. Why can't they just make hunter's mark be a buff, like a paladin buff or an aura or whatever they're called? Why are you doing something that could be good, but making it, it's like they kneecap the best idea ever all the time. It's like, here's what you wanted, kind of. Here's, cross-faction guilds, sort of. You can do content, Horde and Alliance together, sometimes. It's just like, come on.
You can exist in the same guild together, but you can't invite the opposite faction unless you're friends.
It's ridiculous.
I will say, Rocket, you made a really good point. Blizzard should absolutely make more classes Paladin. That's what I took away from that.
Yeah, as you should. And for those who aren't aware, Paladin is actually going to be my dungeon and raid tune for the next season because I just need a change. No. Everybody's been saying that, but no. So
Trog says it a lot.
There's an actual, stroke my own ego reason as to why. Every pug that I join on my Paladin, one of the first things that happens is someone says, hey, cool transmog. So that keeps me wanting to be on my Paladin.
The only time I've ever had a transmog compliment was on my Vulpera.
Really?
I think they just liked me because I was a furry.
Yeah, probably. And armor doesn't really look good on the foxes, really.
It's actually an armor set that you can't get anymore, or at least not this one because it was related to Recruiter Friend. I'll show you sometime. It's like an explorer looking set.
I could do a whole episode, Trog. There's a good episode idea. The stupid bullshit Recruiter Friend system.
I have not engaged with that. I used to refer myself to get the rewards.
Right? I do not have the money to recruit myself constantly to get fun rewards, so I never got any Recruiter Friend rewards.
Womp womp.
But yeah, so when I heard about that hunter's mark, I'm like, oh, that's cool. What? So I have to take time out of what I'm doing to hunter's mark everything on the fly.
So do you mind if I do a couple of shout outs here? Because we're kind of winding down at this point.
No, we're good. We've, I think we've essentially covered the topic. Mito, is there anything else you want to talk about? The forum is yours.
No, I'm good.
Cool. We got some Pokemon insight. We got some Final Fantasy insight. And we had some insight into the wonder that is Mito.
It was a very good episode. As I'm saying, into the episode as it's being recorded.
Correct. This is going to be the one that gets us our triple digits of views, by the way, because Mito's involved.
You know what?
That's
why we invited him. Well, make sure you change your IP every time, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I'm way ahead of you.
It doesn't count unless you do it on, your clone decks.
So I just wanted to give a shout out. We have a Discord server for Salt All the Things podcast. You can find that link on our show, Salt All the Things. We would love to see some of our listeners and talk with you guys. We have a community chat channel in there. And if anybody would like to play some games with us or anything, either WoW or another game, because I am almost always have Slay the Spire 2 up, come and join our Discord server and ping us. I'm happy to pass out my Steam ID and or my BattleNet ID thing, whatever that is, and start playing with people. So I just wanted to give that shout out. We do have a Discord, and we'd love to see people in there.
Also, self-servingly, I'd like to plug our YouTube channel. I haven't been really active on it lately, but there is a poll up there for some new content ideas that I had. And if anyone has any suggestions, feel free to respond to that message as well.
Oh, I'm going to respond.
Ugh, feet pics. Here they come. Well, Trog,
Well, Rocket, what did you
Are
say
we good?
yesterday? Have we finished kicking this horse in the teeth or something?
I don't know.
That was unnecessarily violent.
Well, let's not be violent for violence sake this time. I want to thank our very special Mito guest. It's always a pleasure to have people that I play the game with and, see infrequently, but to kind of hear why you enjoy or don't enjoy the game that I enjoy and don't enjoy as well. So it's always cool to get to know my guildies a little better. So I relish these little visits. Next week.
But hold on. I would just like to point out
Relish?
that you didn't say our special guest Mito. You said our special Mito guest. So basically, I'm not the special guest. I am the special. I'll take it. It works.
I mean,
The
you're the
special
one.
Mito.
You're the one who showed up with hip waders and a helmet, sir.
If I knew what
mean,
that
what
was,
were
I
you-
might be offended.
What were you? What were you expecting? You should never be offended because if there's a short bus involved, you can assure yourself that I'm on it.
Well, back to the
Anyway.
outro. Let's go.
Anyway, so for next time, we're going to be discussing kind of a recent addition to World of Warcraft, but something that I think we haven't talked about yet, Trog, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the Turbulent Timeways. Is it a leveling gimmick or is it actually fun? Stay tuned.
Is that active now?
Yes, it started today.
Oh, I didn't see the
Stay
buff when I logged
tuned.
in earlier.
Until next time, I'm Rocket. That's Trog. Stay salty.
Bye, everybody.
And Mito.
And Mito.